Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for some more Currie Cup. It has started up again for 2026, and everyone's second favourite side, or sometimes their favourite in Boland, are back in action here up against the Bulls. Last year when these two sides played, it wasn't the same location, and Boland were able to get themselves the massive victory, 28 points to 20. Now that was a very eventful 80 minutes. We saw 6 yellow cards during that time, so it will be a little bit similar to what we saw earlier on between England and Argentina, but this should certainly be a great contest. Boland come in as the slight favourites over the Bulls here. Of course, a lot of the Bulls are in the box setup currently. The Currie Cup yet again back in action for 2026. Looking through at the starting lineup, there are a few familiar faces across both of these sides. Xavier Mitchell out on the wing with James Tedder as well as Bantam as the back three for the Cavaliers. This is going to be so crucial that they stop this Bulls counter-attack, because in the back three for them, they have got Bam out on one wing, Kunini out on the other, and then Devin Williams will be slotting in as at number 15. Aronsa in the loose forward trio alongside Quincy Mafu, just like we saw last year, and Thurlow Marsh from that number 8 jersey. That big man had some phenomenal performances throughout 2025, looking to back it up with another big one here in 2026. We have got the more rugby who will win. I think the Bulls, says Jasmine. Yeah, the Bulls, they do actually come in, believe it or not, as underdogs for this matchup, but it was very difficult to beat Boland at this location throughout last year. There were occasionally the sides that were able to do it. Now, they were a bit unlucky in terms of the back end of the season. The Cavaliers, they had to face a full-strength Sharks side. They had all their URC players returning. Cavaliers don't have that option, unfortunately, for their setup. So they lost that semi-final, I think it was about 67-12 or something along those lines, which wasn't quite what everyone wanted to see, but they are a very consistent side throughout the regular season, definitely when they are playing at home up against a Bulls team with some real skill across the 23. Nabakaba leading them from the front from that number 6 jersey, with JJ Teron also a part of that loose forward trio. We have they're starting to rain quite harder in Wellington now. So we're in for a wet game, says Bruce. Well, hopefully it's about as close as that last match was. Cheetahs versus Lions going right down to the wire in the end, being separated by only the couple of points at the 80-minute siren. So, yeah, if we get another game like that, that would be ideal. Like I said, Boland were able to win this game last year, 28 points to 20. So they did have a decent advantage in that regard from last year's competition. But, yeah, it's going to be an old, intriguing matchup. See whether or not they can get off to a flying start, or whether the Bulls did nicely in the later stages of their season last year. They didn't make it through to the playoffs, though, due to the rankings. I believe they finished 5th, or maybe actually 6th below the Pumas in the standings overall. So they'll want to just keep on improving. At the end of the day, the Currie Cup, the sad reality of it for certain sides is it's become a bit of a feeder for the URC. It used to be extremely prestigious. We saw the Stormers name change in terms of this year of the Carling Currie Cup as well, which has frustrated a few people as a whole, but it's changed over the years. There are still some really good things about it, but some people have gone away from this competition, which is a big shame because it has been around for such a long time. We've seen some real greats created from this comp as well. But do, of course, let me know your score predictions in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. You have already seen a few eventful games in the first round. And in fact, the biggest separation in this first round of the Carling Currie Cup was actually 6 points. And that was the Stormers getting the win over the Hariquas. The 2 other games have been separated by just the 2 points. So I would say this game, by the looks of it, odds have it about maybe Boland by 5-ish. If they're lucky, it may even be only by about 3. We could be in for 4 really close fixtures, which could bring to a pretty close competition as a whole for the first round and moving forward. But, of course, looking through at the benches, I actually think that it's a decently stacked bench, in my opinion, for this Boland side. They have got Ashlon Davids again. He was normally starting last year, although will be coming more as a super sub alongside September and Dominic Smith in that number 23 jersey. Some decent players to make their way off the bench later in the contest. The Bulls have also got a couple handy options there too. I just hope it's close. We have had a fair share of one-sided fixtures throughout this weekend. In the Nations Championship, the only game that was close was England versus Argentina, and that one, a very controversial way for that game to end. So hopefully this game avoids any sort of controversy along those lines. There is going to be a bit of rain in the forecast by the sounds of it. which could bring a bit of a slippery ball situation, but that still could bring some very entertaining rugby coming from the forwards here. We are only sitting probably, I would say, about a minute away from them starting up the coverage here in New Zealand to see exactly what those conditions are like. Do let me know, Bruce. Is it windy as well, or is it just raining at the moment in Wellington? But Boland, they were able to get some decent crowds to their games last year. As I mentioned, they did finish in the, I believe, where were they? They were, one second, we'll go like this. Yeah, they were 4th ranked in the end for last year's Currie Cup competition with 23 points. The Cheetahs were able to take them over in terms of points differential near the end of the competition. And I believe it was actually Boland who did lose. Yeah, they lost in round 7 to the Stormers, or it was at the time known as the Western Province. The week prior to that, they lost to the Sharks 15. Now, luckily, the game up against the Sharks wasn't completely the Sharks' strongest side, but the game that they played the week after against the Stormers certainly was. That's coming back. Yeah, it does look like a little bit of rain around. I don't know what just happened there. We cut out for a second. At Boland Rugby Stadium, it means that there won't be quite as big of a crowd as we were expecting initially, but it looks wet. Looks like scrums might be a little bit of a problem for these two sides to be able to get their gripping underfoot. And of course, the big player that is missing from Boland, Donovan Don, is nowhere to be seen for this 23 side. I think he ended up, is he still in the 7 setup, or did he go overseas, Donovan Don? I know that he was with the 7s at one point. He had a phenomenal season for Boland last year out there on the wing. Right, light rain. Though at the moment it looks a little bit heavier than that. And then about 10 kilometres of wind. So not a massive amount of wind. Raining, no wind, says Annie there. Yeah, just showing that starting lineup again. Devin Williams from the number 15 jersey. I think we're going to see a bit of a kicking battle with Johannes at the helm, the number 10 jersey, and Brooklyn Newman getting the big chance in that 9. Last year we did see a little bit of Zach Berger. That 9 jersey, another cover. The man in charge of this team as the captain. And Jazzy, Jansi Fans Rensburg and the locking duo. It's a decent looking Bulls side, but they do, as I mentioned, come in as underdogs getting into this matchup rather than as the favourite. Boland as a whole, Gumedi up front, Joshua Eras as the number 2. We've got Van der Vesthuizen slotting in at 3, and then Marlon Williams, he's one who I think will definitely be one keep an eye out for in this game. Thurlow Marsh, the captain, the same. And then in that back line, James Tedder from the back had some phenomenal moments, although sometimes a little bit shaky with the kick. Have to make sure they're getting it accurate there today, though. Jaden Bantam out there on the left wing. Plenty of pace from him. Good evening, Amish, says Xavier. Welcome in. And any answer for me? I was having a whittle, says Bruce there. Well, hopefully you are all good to go now for the rest of this contest. About to get underway. Been a lot of rugby throughout this weekend. But there still seems to be quite a little bit of excitement around this Carling Currie Cup competition. Nabakaba leading the Bulls side out there onto the Boland Stadium field. Oh, that was an interesting walk there from Munjezi. I think it was down to the fact that the concrete or the bricks that they are running out on is a little bit slippery. But he also looked like one of his knees weren't quite warmed up yet. You'd assume that that's not the case, though. They're making his way out onto the field, but this Bulls 15 side, to be honest, I'm just going to call them the Bulls. I know that the Stormers are supposed to be called the Stormers. They're actually the Stormers 23 in terms of their name. The Sharks 15, the Bulls 15, etc. We're just going to call them the Bulls. Then watch my hand, says Bruce there. Boland about to make their way out onto the field for their first home game of the year. 2026, they would love to be the side to get to raise the trophy. They'll be going head-to-head up against the Stormers 23 next week. And then the week after that, they have got the Pumas. 3 home games in a row for Boland before they go onto the road on the 9th of August. That is the first weekend of the greatest rivalry tour. And that will be Sharks versus Boland. That's going to be happening at a very similar time to when South Africa will be taking on the Argentines. Their next matchup taking place in about 3 weeks' time. Boland out onto the field. Thurlow Marsh, the Boland captain. This is going to be an interesting one. They've got some great players. James Tedder charges out. We're in the number 15 jersey. It's going to be a slippery old day at the back, you would have to say, in this contest, which is going to make it extremely difficult for those players to be able to take the ball cleanly. But enough skill out there. And Boland, they did show it last year. Well, I guess developed in a way this side is compared to some of the other teams, even though they don't have the URC other option. For the Bulls, this is where you get guys who want to make themselves known for the coaches of the URC Bulls team. Someone like a Nabakaba, where does he fit in to the environment next season? JJ Teron, Keegan Johannes, Kunene, Devin Williams, all guys who have had a little bit of game time for the Bulls throughout last season. It's quite interesting. They actually, now I don't know who did it first, so before anyone gets angry at me, I'm not saying anything about it like in a bad way, but same song that they play for the Crusaders horses. They've got a Boland horse as well going around the outside. I wonder whether or not that's just a stock standard song. I didn't realize that they played it and that Boland had a horse. Going away to the left-hand side, they managed to retain the ball here. Boland getting thrown all around the place for their halfback, Louis Schrader. Now offloading there, keeping this ball alive early for the home side. Now, the ball thought about going on the inside, couldn't quite get it away. There is an advantage in play. This is beautiful stuff from Boland. They've got about 4 men on the outside, but the pass from Xavier Mitchell went straight into the hands of the Bulls, but it will go back for the initial advantage. And they've just said there, perfect start for the Cavaliers, although what would have made it even more perfect was if they had finished it off and got themselves the early try, but we'll go like this, and we'll go like that as well. We are on the scoreboard today, ladies and gents, so it might be delayed at times. Hopefully you can read that. It's quite small. We are 1 minute into the first half. And they have decided already that the kick towards the corner is the better. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. Not quite a kick towards the corner, but a kick into touch from James Tedder. That one seemed to come off the outside of the boot. Didn't quite come off too nicely, but they will still be in a good attacking position on what is not such a nice-looking day in Wellington for this match. Line out here for Joshua Eris. Throws it in, taken by the big man, Marlon Williams. Now moving this one quite nicely here, Boland. As they look to move up to the 5-meter line, and it seems to still be slightly shuffling. JJ Teron looking straight at the referee. He was hoping that maybe they were going to say that that one had to stop and be used, but it is still slowly marching sideways direction at the moment. Now it's going backwards. They're going to have to use it. Trying to spin out of that challenge was Schrader. Now going back across. Nice ball on the inside. Huge shot coming in from the defenders there. Now popping it up to the left-hand side here. Boland still attacking from about 10 meters out from the line. Now passes across there to Marlon Williams. Coming out the back again. Nice pop pass up to Mitchell. Great face play early on from the favourites in this contest. Schroeder calling for more numbers on the left-hand side. Popping it up now to Joshua Eris. 5 phases in a row now. It can go again, getting that little bit closer to the try line for Boland with what would be a dream start. We have there the Horse and Cavalier. It's an old Boland tradition. I live just up the road from the stadium. So has it always been that same song that they played, Dirk, as well? Because, yeah, I remember I went to a Crusaders versus Chiefs game in Christchurch, and they had the horses as well as I think they're one of the other sides. In fact, they might be the only 2 sides, are they, that actually have horses. Knock on here just short of the line for Boland. But, yeah, they were playing that same song when the horses were, like, galloping around the field. So I wonder whether or not it's like maybe it's like an old school, I don't know, like battle song or something to do with like the horses, maybe, that like all the sides do use. Well, I guess all 2. Just going for the pick and go there for Aransa. Trying to go over the top of that breakdown. I did end up knocking it on. It was in the in-goal area, so it will be the goal line dropout from the Bulls now. 3.5 minutes in this contest, and it's been all Boland. At the early stages of this match, James Tedder looking to run this one forward. Big shot coming in. And another advantage, though, going against the Bulls. Now Schroeder looking for the chipper behind. This one's being chased hard at the moment, waiting for the bounce of the ball. It's an awkward one for Devin Williams, but he gets back and covers. We'll now, after 4 minutes, give another penalty to this Boland Kavaliers side. Johan Goosen in the coaching box. A big shot there on James Tedder. And yeah, just getting in the wrong place in that breakdown. And again, they do kick towards the corner, Boland. They are going aggressive from the get-go, which is great to see, rather than going too much in their shell in the early stages of this match. I think we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. But like I mentioned, they're expected to win this game by, it's a narrow margin expected, but somewhere around the 5 points mark for the Boland Kavaliers. This one thrown into the front, but stolen by the Bulls. Okay, nicely. Andre Skurman throws it into touch, though. So it is again going to be the Boland line out. And Andre Skurman just apologising to his teammates. He was saying he was trying to slap it back into the hands of their 9 here, Newman. As well competed. He could almost call it as a knock-on against Marlon Williams there. Still a little bit of rain. They called it light rain for this matchup. Thrown into the front. Nicely taken by the Boland lock. Now this one moving nicely with Joshua Eras hanging on to the ball at the back. Still marching well for Boland. They're over the line now. As long as that wasn't the ball that looked like it rolled forward, that should be the try for Joshua Eras in the early stages of this matchup. And Boland have started with a hiss and a roar and got themselves a lead here. I think it was someone's knee tape that I ended up seeing that was actually looking like the ball. Let's see the replay here. What was it that? It looked like for a second it was that the ball went down. You know, I think there was actually someone's white boot that I caught first glance of. Is it raining here? Well, it is raining here, and also Capstead. We have there thought you were going to sleep another 28 hours after yesterday's commentating marathon. You're already at it again. Yeah, sleep didn't go well, I'll be honest. It was probably the worst sleep I've had in a long time. I maybe got 3 or 4 hours and then decided, you know what, I'll just get up again. But kick here for James Tedder. And it's gone straight down the middle. Couldn't have struck it much better if he tried. Now giving Boland Kavaliers the 7-0 lead here in this contest. There we go. And also Capstead in Cape Town. Says Carmen there. So how far away from Boland Stadium are you, Carmen? Do let me know. It's a good finish there from the hooker, Joshua Eras. Nicely taken inside of the 22 for Boland. The thing is, they are one of those sides that momentum just carries them throughout a matchup. If they start to feel like they are getting into a contest, they will be able to dominate it. Wow, that would have hurt the knee of James Tedder. And yeah, he's really holding it badly. That was an ugly collision for the two players. Unfortunately, there what happened was both men went for the knee slide and collided. But Tedder's in a huge amount of discomfort here. And because of it, they don't actually have a man back. Nice mark called from the number 13, Ngale. But this does not look good for James Tedder. This is at best case scenario, a stinger to the kneecap. Worst case scenario, shattered kneecap for James Tedder there. We're going to see it there. Both men sliding in and bang, just the knee on knee. In fact, I think it was Tedder who ended up with his knee hitting the thigh of the Bulls player. So probably a dead leg for the Bulls player, but a very sore knee at the moment for James Tedder. And what are the kits for the game, says Carmen? So the Boland side are wearing their classic black with that little bit of yellow trim. And then alongside that, the Bulls are wearing their classic blue. Hello, Mr. Hamish. Yo, dead. Says Inferno. Oh, am I dead? I assume that is from Inferno. That looks worse every time I see the replay of it. And the thing is, I haven't done that in terms of colliding with another player for a knee. But I was stupid enough to try a fly kick on concrete, like in terms of kicking a ball, missed the ball, and then landed on my knee. And that hurt. So Tedder's probably got that feeling like he can't really put any weight on that leg. And it goes away after a while, depending on the severity, but he's not going to feel great for a little while and 1 hour away from the stadium. Says Carmen there, never heard of Boland. Says Inferno. They're actually... You guys know that I'm pretty unbiased along the way. I fell in love with the way that Boland played last year in the Currie Cup. So maybe when people ask me who my favourite team is, maybe I should say Boland. But yeah, they're just aside from the Currie Cup competition. They don't take part in the URC. They are just an underdog who just love a good old scrap, or not a scrap per se, but just a good old effort out there on the field. They've got some nice offloading. Can you show us the table? Says Carmen. We're still very early on, but the Cheetahs are on 5 points. We have got there the Sharks then in second on the 5, both with a points differential of +2. And then the Stormers in third on 4th. Lions in 4th on 2. And then also the Pumas with 2. Requas with 1. And then these two sides haven't played yet. I don't watch Currie Cup, says Inferno there. Well, that probably explains why you haven't heard of them then, but they have made a change here. Already for Boland, it is, I want to say that was Dominic Schmidt that they have brought on now. And Gebro, today is the World Cup final. Are you going to watch it? I don't actually know yet. This game's going to finish at about 3 a.m. So I don't know whether or not I'm going to stay up and then have a look at it, because I think it starts in about 6 hours, right? Yeah, 6 hours away. But then at the same time, it's a World Cup final. You only get it every 4 years. So maybe like for a few extra hours of staying up, it is worth, having a look at it. But I haven't decided yet. I think it depends on how tired I am after this stream. Who's near? Was it James Tedis? He's one of the keys for Boland as well throughout this Currie Cup campaign, but the ball is in the hands of the Bulls currently. Bit of a long stoppage to start this game off. Now going away to the left-hand side. It's here for, would have been Dylan Smith from that number 1 jersey, reading for Argentina. What about you? See, it's a tricky one because, yeah. I wouldn't mind if Spain won it, but at the same time, I feel like Argentina have probably, they've done pretty well throughout the rest of it. Amish, go watch it. Says Inferno. So I'm confused. The Stormers in the Currie Cup were the Western Province, and were they always the Stormers? No, so they used to be the Western Province. Then they changed their name this year to the Stormers 23 to kind of match the other South African sides. I don't know why they couldn't just leave Western Province as the name. And we have there, it's Global Rugby completely collapsed, or if Global Rugby completely collapsed and was only played in South Africa, like NFL as in the USA, would you mind? And still comment on the Currie Cup. Wait, so you're saying if all of rugby ended except for the Currie Cup, would I still cover the Currie Cup? Probably. We cover the Currie Cup even though the rugby world hasn't ended. But now charging forward here up to the halfway line for JJ Teron. You're doing Sharks Cheetahs Friday? Probably not. I think the Currie Cup's only going to be a little bit of a rarity on the channel, just because of all the rugby that is coming up in the near future. It's probably, I would say, probably one game next weekend, more than likely Boland versus Western Province. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit less consistent than last year. We have good there. That's why I'm going Spain, says Inferno. Okay, this sounds like there's going to be a little bit of trouble here. A little bit of push and shove that happened after the ball was cleared. I'll watch and support you. Says cool story there. Right, captain's being called over. I think someone's going to the bin here for a bit of foul play. Okay. So the referee has pretty much said there that anyone who does anything more now is going to get a yellow card. Bokang has got the South African flags in there. Chris Smith versus his old team. Says Carmen there. Yeah, there's a few little transfers that we've seen throughout the Carling Currie Cup sides. I do think that Boland being able to win this game would certainly be a statement. They do punch well above their weight per se. Although that's Chris Smith rather than Chris Smith. Are we thinking of Chris Smith or Smith in this scenario? Because, oh no, sorry, he was a Bulls man too, wasn't he, Chris Smith, back in the day? Because then there's Chris Smith as well with the H on the end. He's now Bull, or he was Bulls, now Lions, right? But then Smith was also Boland boy. And Schmidt says Carmen there. It is going to be the line out here for Boland, about 25 metres out from the Bulls line, almost overthrown, but very nicely done by Marlon Williams. Oh, hand on the ball there and off the feet, though, for Mwande Mdanda, and he's ended up giving away the penalty advantage against his side, and the Boland side will get the penalty yet again. They'll be chasing 4 tries in this matchup to get the bonus point here. Anything less, I mean, you'd still take it this stage of the competition, but when it comes to the home advantages later on, you definitely want to be the side that do have that field and the crowd behind you. Now, Schmidt has put their ball in touch. He has, of course, taken over the kicking responsibilities after the injury of Tedder, so I wouldn't want to learn the player's name and do FIFA World Cup final commentary here. Probably not, no. I haven't covered any other game of the competition. I initially was going to do South Africa and New Zealand's games, but work ended up getting in the way of that a little bit. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to just come in for the final when I haven't done any of the rest of the competition. And I know that you'd probably say for the under-20s, I kind of did that because I did the semi-finals and the final, but it was slightly more plus our main sport. And now time has passed. Has your thoughts changed on the final try from Argentina versus England? What I'll say about that try is Angus Gardner got way too much stick from the crowd as well as the people online for a decision that he wasn't really the one who made the final call on. Hope you got some sleep. Not really. I wanted to. When you go to bed and you're extremely tired, but you're too tired to go to sleep? That's what I ended up with. So I got 3 hours sleep. I'm hoping to catch up a little bit more here. Aronson with a bit of a mistake. Oh, okay. There is another scuffle here between these two sides. And the referee did say the next time that someone starts something, number 3 from the side, so the penalty will be awarded to Boland. Maybe they couldn't hear the English TMO or didn't understand or only understood the ref. Says Inferno, maybe. But I saw he got stuff thrown at him as he was trying to get out of the stadium, which is a bit rough. You ever get there too tired to sleep, Jesus, says the Blue Nomad. Yeah. It's probably the most difficult trying to sleep after a long weekend that I've had. I would think almost in the channel's history. I don't know why either. I think it was just because of so much rugby and being so wide awake. Okay, tuning on my TV to watch the fight, says Inferno. But again, Boland, this looks like they're going to go for the quick tap option rather than towards the corner. This is going to be Quincy Mafu. Now tap and go. Going to be dragged down nicely. A bit of a counter ruck coming from the Bulls, and there's actually going to be a knock on, and in fact, another penalty advantage against this Bulls 15 side. They have to be extremely careful not to get sent to the bin. Chris Smith looking for the cross kick. They'll go back though. There was a knock on in the breakdown. Too much excitement, says the Blue Nomad. Yeah, I think so. And it was also, I think because now there's not that much rugby on over the next few weeks, I think my brain was confused at the factor of actually being able to sleep. So then it didn't. My mother's the only person who was happy that with Springboks game around here. Says cool story. Yeah, they won 43-0. You'd think they had lost by 50, the way that some people have reacted to that Springboks victory. But we didn't do a post-match review, which I think was a good idea, to be fair, with what happened last week. No relation with the Boland tight here, by the way. In case you were wondering, I know some people, I like to come on here and say XYZ is my relative. Says Youngko there. See, you could have told me that he was, and I would have been like, oh. I don't know why the first question that came to my head was going to be, how long did you know, or have you known him? But I guess as long as you've been alive or he's been alive. But yeah, I believe way too much random stuff that's said. So you would have fooled me. Do you know DSTV as a dedicated channel for school sports? No, I did not. As in just all school sports or just specifically rugby? What other school sports are actually quite big in South Africa, by the way? I don't really know. I guess cricket would be quite big, right? Maybe football. Football's quite popular as a whole, so they've probably got school football over there, right? What other sports? Athletics? I know rugby, water polo, and hockey. Says Inferno. Because they won something in the hockey recently, didn't they, the South Africans? I think I heard someone say. Now going away to the right-hand side. Boland again are on the attack here, just a few metres from the Bulls line. Been dominating the territory at the moment in this contest. 7 points to 0. Yeah, there's more, says Inferno. Netball, cricket, and hockey. Says Youngko there. Now popping it up to the right-hand side. That's a good two-man tackle made by the Bulls to shut doing the momentum. You're doing South Africa versus Australia cricket on the 24th of November. Oh, that date sounds familiar. Is that the date that the Nations Championship finals taking place? Have a quick look while we have got This attacking move going, but now still Boland, although that looked like it was going to be a steal for the Bulls. Did he get it in the end? Nicholas Jansi Rensburg, no. Stays on the side of Boland again. And hoodie suit you better than your dotted shirt and shorts, says Joe there. Now wait to the right. Oh, big shot on Chris Smith and a big knock on from Smith there too. I think it was actually Chris Smith. Sorry, I think I said Smith. I added the H. Right now I see there is live basketball. There's Inferno. Is this the Bulls' second team? Yeah. So they pretty much are missing a majority of their URC guys, although you could argue they would be anyway because of the commitments to the box. There's still a few URC boys in there, the likes of Devin Williams, Kuneni, Keegan Johannes, Nabakaba. But now kicking this one downfield, and it is Brooklyn Newman. Although he hasn't looked to find the touchline there. The girls will like it better, I'm sure, says Joe. And 26 points to 28 for the Nations Championship. Oh, sorry, the 26th to the 28th. Oh, okay, so it's a midweek game, is it? What format? Test match? Or what do we got? Have a quick look too. England playing India at the moment. I do see nice piercing run out on the wing from Jaden Bantam, and that one's thrown into touch. This has to be a school pitch, says Inferno. Offside. And that is a yellow card now coming for the Bulls. There's too many infringements here. 15 minutes in. I think the penalty count would be up to at least 5 by now. The T20, potentially then, I would say. South Africa, Australia, November. That'd be in Australia, wouldn't it? Or would that be the wrong one? What do we got? November. It hasn't got it in my schedule yet. Okay, it's got the test series for South Africa taking place in October, but it hasn't got it registered in November. Is it just a one-off test match? Or sorry, one-off T20 in November, or is it multiple? Carmen, let me know. Now I'll line out here for Joshua Eras. Of a stoppage now, but Boland, they have got the man advantage for the next 10 minutes of this contest. We can hear the band as well firing up. No matter whether it's raining or not, they still seem to get a full orchestra in attendance for these games. 9 minutes remaining of that yellow card. It's a well-set one, although there was an advantage here. I think I heard the referee say, mention the number 5. Nicholas Jansi Rensburg maybe getting that one slightly wrong. Still rolling forward. Where is the ball? It's popped out on the side right next to the touchline. Marlon Williams with the ball back on the inside to Arinsa. More physicality coming. Good run from Gumedi. He's going to be just short. Dragged down by his opposite in the scrum, Ndanda. Ball's available. Now away to the right-hand side again. Another good tackle made. Short pop pass. Get another solid effort defensively from the Bulls, but how long can they hang on for? Not too much longer with runs like that from the big man, Yandre Leonard. Now Waikato pass to the right-hand side. Smith, he's thrown the ball forward. He's got it wrong again. Unfortunately, off the bench, Dominic Smith unable to hang on to it nicely. I can't tell if baller number 6 is from Hawaii with their hair. Says Inferno, so that is Sauli Arinsa, the big man. But yeah, he gets around the park. You'll see him a lot throughout the 80 minutes. But a very handy player, very physical too. Him and Thurlow Marsh, it was awesome seeing them last year. Quincy Mafu from that number 7 jersey as well. Like in terms of pound for pound, you put them right up there in terms of this Currie Cup competition. 2 handling errors from Boland, the 1 handling error from the Bulls. November 24th, ODI, South Africa versus Australia. Oh, so it's an ODI rather than a T20. That dude's massive. Yeah, big boy. He's certainly pushing 115, I would say, or 110 at least for Arden. So tell you what, we'll do a quick Google. It will tell us while we've got a scrum reset. I like the fact that it's a recent search that I've already done. I think we searched him up last year, probably because of... Oh, no. They're claiming he's only 103 kg. When he was like 10? There's no way he's 103 kgs at the moment. He's 6'2". If they underplayed every he'd be bigger than 103, wouldn't he? He's probably bulked up since that stat was taken. Looks like a jacked up, unshaven Selvin Davids, says Inferno there. That's actually probably a decent analogy in terms of the comparison. It's kind of like Selvin Davids if he ate Selvin Davids, you know. But I can't take 103 kgs as that weight. I'd say he's got to be at least close to 110. Now ready to feed this ball in, though, for Brooklyn Newman. And referee's just going to have another blow of the whistle here. Another reset. At scrum time. It's been a little bit scrappy around the scrums, but that's always going to be the case when there is so much slipperiness underfoot for these two sides. Just making sure both sides are going to wait until his call. 7-0 still for Boland. Being able to score the early try. Are the Bulls even attempting to attack? Well, at the moment, they've hardly even got out of their own 22. It's been a very impressive display from Boland in terms of keeping the Bulls trapped, but the last Bulls attack, I can't even remember who it would have been. I think it was it Nabakaba having the run inside of the half of Boland, but it feels like a long time ago. Well, in high school, you'll see props 120 kgs, and that is a good scrum from the Bulls side to win the penalty. That goes against Gumedi. Staying straight after the hit. It wasn't done. They're just telling the referee about how he managed to win that scrum. Keegan Johannes off the right boot. This one downfield towards the touchline. This is where they actually really need to get a big move going, the Bulls. They can't afford to just allow Boland to control this tempo and control the match as a whole. Definitely not with this game being an away match for the Bulls. Now line out here for Yandre Skuman. And launch this ball in again. It's ready to throw it. Taking a little while to decide on it currently for the Bulls. Now firing it in. Going to be slapped back, and it's called not straight by the referee, which means Boland will now have the scrum. This time it is their feed rather than the feed against them. Oh, captain actually has the option of a scrum or a line-out. Biggest dude I played with. Played against. Probably 120 kgs when I was 15. Luckily, I was just fat, and he played 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and walked for 10, says Inferno. See, I remember we had that back at, I think it was just the first year of high school. So that was after my rugby days. I was only a primary school rugby kid, but they used to have one in the year 7 and 8s. And he would have been, I would say, around that 120 mark or so, but this was in like 11 and 12-year-old playing. So what they'd do is they'd just give him the ball and to just throw him at the opposition. So they either stopped him, but what would happen is he would just pump his legs, and he'd take about 5 kids with him. He stopped playing after a while because eventually they started to work out to go for the knees. And of course, the bigger you are, the more weight and more damage that those knees can take. But yeah, it used to just be they'd give him the ball and they'd just pretty much say, run it straight, and he'd just run. And he'd take all of the ones who weighed about 50 kgs with him, and he'd just keep on going. I was coaching the teams. I did see Johan Goosen in the coaching box for the Bulls. Another penalty awarded to Boland here, though. I've had a few penalties here, and the Bulls have still got a man disadvantage as well, I should mention. So if they keep on doing this, they get themselves in a little bit of trouble, I would think. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. My friend ran straight into him, and he bounced off and was taken out of the game, says Inferno. Penalties considered 6 against the Bulls, 2 against Boland. But yeah, it always used to be quite impressive how it was always the smallest kid with the tackle technique who was taking down all the big players. You know, the slightly bigger players would always try and go a bit too high around the chest, around the stomach, and get bumped off. But it was always the one kid in every team who could tackle around the bootlaces and just make like those textbook old school tackles. I remember in the scrum, when grabbing the opposition, we used to pinch them to throw them off, says Inferno. Yeah, we had that back in primary school. Our lock got punched in the groin area multiple times in a scrum, and he wasn't happy about it. Our ball's at the back there, still an advantage for Boland yet again. Look at the short side, nice quick hands, and they've ruled that as a forward pass. That actually looked like an all right one there. But now I think this is almost getting towards double blow of the whistle territory again now. I'm trying to take it quickly. Right, another cover. Another warning here for this Boland side. They can just, for this Bulls side. You had to scrum against Jan Hendrik Wessels when you were in school, says Janko van der Vesterhuizen. The warning is back again. Now, I do actually just want to quickly mention, though, last year when these two sides played, there were 6 yellow cards. So this one is actually kind of shaping up in that same direction. But, yeah, we'll wait and see whether or not we see more than the England versus Argentina game in terms of cards. I hope that we don't, because that was a large amount. Now taken at the back, moving it away to the left-hand side, running high and aggressive was Xavier Mitchell. Schroeder looking to the short side. Interesting choice there. Rather than going away to the left, now moving it on again. I can see why these guys ain't in the URC, though. Sees Inferno is in like the Boland side or the Bulls side. Because it is the Bulls who are making a lot of errors currently, but there are also, in that build-up play. For me, there's about 4 or 5 Boland guys who would actually do very nicely in URC teams. I think that Aransa is one of them. Thurlow Marsh thoroughly impressed me last year. Marlon Williams and the locking duo, I actually think if anyone gave him a chance, he'd possibly do all right. Now, still only the 5 meters out from the line for Boland. No penalty advantage just for now. But that doesn't mean that there won't be soon. Still looks a bit like school rugby, says Inferno. The field probably doesn't help it either. It does look like it's like a little bit more grassrootish. But, yeah, the atmosphere, the band is quieted down a little bit. We're doing the orchestra earlier on. Now pick and go from Aransa again. The counter ruck. Now Schroeder. Still 2 meters out, calling for extra numbers. That's where the ball needed to go wide, but they decided to hang on to it for a little bit longer. Schroeder, yeah, they're almost offside there. The Bulls, quick hands, and it's the big man who slides in, I should say, sorry. And it is done by Van der Vesterhuizen, Janko's brother. 50 seconds remaining for the conversion to be taken, but that took a little while to be able to get themselves through. And it's a tight air prop. Dayan van der Vesterhuizen does manage to score. It probably doesn't get a huge amount of them. I'm going to be pretty happy with how that one's gone. I think if that one wasn't a try, they were probably going to get pinged for offside again there. The Bulls, they just went up a little bit too quickly. Like I've said, just too many players in the wrong place there. Oh, I was trying to listen to what the referee was saying, but he's speaking in Afrikaans, so I don't actually know. The scoreboard is broken, by the way, on the actual game. They've given them... now they've fixed it. I was about to say they gave them 10 points for that try, which is quite nice, but that is a beautiful kick from near the sideline, making the score now 14-0 in favour of Boland here. Banton manages to nail his first kick of the day after Tina went off with that injury. You do see Jansi van Rensburg making his way back out onto the field here too. If the Springboks invited you to a match against New Zealand, would you go full on Springbok or South Africa supporter? If the Springboks invited you to a match against New Zealand, would you go full on South African supporter? Like, are they sitting me in an area that is like specifically for Springbok supporters as like a bit of a piss take thing, or is it that they've said you have to like wear green and gold and you have to do all the like praising of the Springboks? It kind of sounds like it's like kind of blowing the own trumpet, isn't it? In a way, if they did that. But I mean, if I got invited to go to watch a game, I probably would. I would say. Even if it was up against anyone, Springboks versus the Barbars. I'd watch happily every day of the week. That one's going to be kicked to mine by kicking your harness. Awkward bouncing ball, mistake made, and that one's just going to go dead. Probably lucky that it was down this end of the field because luckily there was no barricade behind it. No, like you invited, come meet the boys and watch the match. Says Inferno. I think I would be happy to see the players. I don't think I'd go full on bot crazy. I think I'd still be happy enough to see both sides in action. Because at the end of the day, never been to an All Blacks test, never been to a Springbok test. So to be there, he almost got cleaned up by the camera. Past the in-goal area there for the Bulls player. Visits to the opposition 22. That was the first time the Bulls have been inside of the opposition 22 there. 7 visits for Boland. They have been able to turn it into 1 try. Just trying to deal with a bit of a knee injury here for Dayan van der Vesterhuizen. He's recently scored himself the try. 12 minutes remaining here in the first half of the last match of the Carling Currie Cup round 1. It looks like a decent food truck in the background. It's got a lot of smoke coming out of the top of it, but I think that's supposed to be happening. There's going to be the scrum now, though, for the Bulls, even though they did make that mistake of kicking it a little bit dead. You like the Boland kit? Yeah. I like any kit that has yellow on it. So, yeah, I quite like this Boland kit. The blue sponsor across the middle, I'll be honest, looks out of place. But, you have to have your sponsors at the end of the day. But outside of that blue across the middle, I feel like it looks very nice. I'm probably making chips and Boerewors rolls. Says Inferno. He said, it doesn't look like a very warm day, so getting something from the food truck's probably a great way to spend it. Also, of course, watching the game, but I was going to say the blue looks weird, says Inferno. Yeah, outside of that blue strip, though, it looks quite nice. I like the yellow collar alongside the black. Almost looks a little bit La Rochelle-esque in a way. Now, big push there from the Bulls. They'll get the penalty advantage at scrum time. This might be one part of their game they can start to turn around. Tell you what, we're seeing Mdunda really being fired up at the moment. Rainbow is for Rainbow Chicken. What's Rainbow Chicken like the equivalent of in terms of is it similar to KFC or is it similar to, what else is there? There's Popeyes. There's, what's another chicken place? Jollibees? Jollibees? That's a place, right? That do chicken? Not here, but somewhere. They supply KFC? Oh, so wait, so they supply, so it's just KFC. They sell frozen chicken. Says Inferno there. Oh, okay. So is that like our equivalent of Tegel, maybe? Because Tegel are the ones who give the KFC the chicken to then cook. Mass-produced cheap chicken. Says Inferno. I feel like that's one of the cool things about these Currie Cup live streams as well. I learn a whole heap of stuff about South Africa that I don't get the chance to ask and hear about on the main international streams because of how quick the chat goes. That's going to be not straight in the line out there for the Bulls. And that is not the first time that we've seen a not straight throw from Yandre Schoolman. And Boland 31, Bulls 12, says Graham Nedling. I can see it happen. I feel like Boland, they've come out firing in this contest. The 2 tries so far. Bulls, their scrum looks stronger. The red sponsor on the bum looks weird, says Inferno. I hadn't even... Oh, on the Bulls. I think you've got a lot of butt sponsors nowadays, though, across a lot of sides. It's just it sounds bad to say, but it's somewhere that's a decent-sized area to put a logo on. It's not as bad as the... Oh, who was it? It was one of the NPC sides here in New Zealand. It might have been Southland. But they had one which was a circular logo that was brown, and it circled around the back of the short. So, it looked like something else. And I don't know who designed it, but they didn't think too long and hard about it. It's going to be another scrum reset. Now Boland has it on the backside, but by the thighs looks better. Says Inferno. Yeah, they look like they had a little double piecer, which I think is two different logos of the same company. Hello, and were they wearing white? I think they wear white shorts. I don't know who designed it. I'll try and find it at halftime in terms of what team it was. But yeah, it was not smart. I've seen I think the Fijian Drua also have a blue logo on their backside, which is for Flick. Now, Flick in all capitals looks like a different word. And I don't know whether or not that was on purpose, but yeah, it looks like they've just got the F word across the back. Ready to put it in, though, for Boland. 8 minutes remaining here in the half, and it's kicked towards the touchline from Louis Schroeder. And does go into touch. Do you know the sponsor of the refs kit? For a while, it was Specsavers. I don't know whether Specsavers still do it. For the South African one, what have they got on the logo currently for the referee? Can't quite see him. He's too far away. Although there's a little bit of an injury here for one of the players by the looks of it. It does look like Mdanda. And while the whole kit is the sponsor, says Inferno. Yeah, I think it was, for a while, it was Specsavers. I don't know whether or not it still is or whether it's a different one now. Mdanda's back to his feet. But yeah, it's always that classic green and purple, isn't it, for the South African referees? It's an insurance company, Outsurance, says Inferno. Outsurance. Someone would have got paid a lot of money to come up with that name. And all they did was just turn it from in to out. But is it like a big one in South Africa? That's another not straight line out. Unfortunately, Yandre Skuman, I think they're going to have to take him off at halftime. Or in fact, no, sorry, that one was straight enough, but it was the knock on. It's still raining here in Wellington, Western Cape, no wind, says Bruce there. Yeah, green and purple was their logo, says Inferno. Now the 6 minutes remain of this first half. If Boland can go into the halftime break with the lead of 14, maybe even extend it longer or bigger, then I think they'll be pretty happy what they've been able to do thus far. I'm so excited for the greatest rivalry. New Zealand, South Africa. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. 3 weeks away from that first match between the All Blacks and the Stormers. And the thing is, it's going to fly by. So I feel like we've got to make the most of it while it's here. Because all of a sudden, we're going to be at the World Cup. And the November Internationals, they're 110 days away, but that's going to fly by. We are just seeing there an early push against the Bulls at scrum time. There's a lot of yelling coming from the front rowers. They don't like each other too much, it would seem. Gumedi having a bit of a go at Mdanda there. They've still been going back and forth all day. This one not able to go into touch for Chris Smith, though. And booted up high. Charging onto it, nicely taken by Keegan Johannes. I will ask the question, though, does anyone know when Rassi's announcing his squad? So I know that the All Blacks are leaving it until late November. I don't think that's like for any other reason than maybe waiting for the injuries and seeing who's available and everything along those lines. But in terms of South Africa, Rassi normally likes an early announcement, doesn't he? So for all we know, it could be later today, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. I bought 5 kilos of frozen rainbow chicken pieces last week. When it fought out, I was only 4.2 kgs. Also, you lost a little bit of water weight in that case. Lineouts. It'd be a tricky one, though, because, like, technically you did have 5 kgs at one point. Did you weigh it before you thought it out? Line out for Yandre Skum, and he has had about 4 wonky lineouts at this stage of the matchup. And again, that is the last thing that they will be wanting. Nicely taken. Going away to the left-hand side now. Rainbow Chicken is brined. Says Inferno. Now back into the pocket. So they inject salt water into it. So here's Inferno. Obviously taken again by Schmidt at the back. That one doesn't go into touch. You know, Keegan Johannes does well to stay on his feet. It already looks like the field is getting pretty roughed up. There are a lot more divots out there than there were at the start of the matchup. Now going to the left-hand side, Devin Williams moves it across. Now about 3 men on the outside, but instead cutting back in is JJ Teron. It was a bit of a high tackle attempt from Arinsa there. Back on the inside, nice run from Sintu Manjezi. Slow getting back up to the feet from JJ Teron, who looks like he took a bit of a knock to the back of the head here. Still moving. Now penalty. I'll go back for that initial high shot. And doesn't seem like a double blow of the whistle yet. Yeah, just saying about that penalty. And Arinsa just going too high. I know 5 kilos on the sealed pack. Lost 800 grams when it thawed. Pumped up with water, quite common here. So here's Bruce. It looks like he's hunting prey, says Inferno for the number 6. Yeah, he is. The thing is, he's aggressive out there on the field, but not really at the same time. It's kind of a weird one. Because, you know, again, he flies around out there on the field, but also does some really smart stuff. That's why I buy Woolworths chicken or Checkers. Do you guys have Woolworths in South Africa? I know about Checkers and I know about Spar. That was another one that I knew. I didn't realize you had Woolworths, though. We've got Woolworths here. I don't know why I'm so excited about that. You guys have KFC. We have KFC here too, but I guess supermarket chains, I didn't realize. It's from South Africa, by the way, Woolworths. See, we might have a different version because our one's from Australia in terms of the Woolworths brand. But now going forward, a little bit short of the line, although knocked on the back of the maul, it looked like from the Bulls. It is going to be play on just for now, though. I also boycott Woolworths. What did Woolworths do to you this time, Bruce? Seems like you got a few things on that boycotted list. Now 1 meter short here. The Bulls. We're going to get rid of that 0. We have it there. We don't have Woolworths, and the UK used to have it, but not anymore. So here's the Blue Nomad. So what's the UK got supermarkets-wise? They've got Costco. Is it Costco or is that American? Now, quick tap. Looks like it's about to be taken, although referee's slow to get to the mark here. In fact, he was in no hurry to get to that mark for the quick tap opportunity. No arms tackle off the ball. This is starting to sound a lot more like a yellow card in the near future. Different Woolworths here, tied up with the UK Marks and Spencers. I don't think so. My sister's friend's dad moved to Australia to bring Woolworths to them. Says Inferno. Your sister's friend's dad. Sister's friend's dad. Okay. And Costco in the USA. Says Bruce. 20 seconds now remaining here before we get to the halftime break, and still another chance for the Bulls to strike here. They haven't had a huge amount of visits to the opposition 22. Doesn't mean that they won't get the chance here now, though. So Woolworths expanded from South Africa to other countries. Says Inferno. Looks like Nabakaba is considering the quick tap option here. Again, the Bulls just need something before the end of the game or before the end of the half. Looking off to the left-hand side. Short side option is on. But again, it's great defense from Arinsa. Now across Newman. Keegan Johannes puts in the chip in behind. It will bounce in the in-goal area. It is taken well. They force it down. They're going to go back, I believe, for another penalty. Double blow of the whistle this time. We have 1 yellow card. Oh, and time is off here. Okay, same as what I gave to them earlier on. Monster Energy Drinks was created by 2 South Africans. Says Inferno. But now Boland, any more penalties, and they will get themselves a man in the bin. second, we'll go like this. And I like that as well. Original Woolworths brand was found in New York, USA. But in South Africa, it was established in 1931 by Max Sonnenberg. In Australia, it was founded in 1924. And then in 1929 in New Zealand. So it went back in 1879 in USA, then Australia, then New Zealand, then South Africa for the Woolworths setup. There you go, a little bit of knowledge from the old school days. But the Bulls, this is an interesting choice. They're actually going to take on the 3 here. They find themselves down by 14. This, to me, is the wrong choice. I need to light the fire soon. Sunday is Friday. Says Bruce there. But yeah, they've decided that the Bulls, they want to head into halftime with something on the board, but they could have ended up heading to halftime with the Boland side down a man and all sorts of pressure on them. And this one seems like a little bit of a negative choice. But I know Woolworths in the UK or America is completely different. Like it's not a grocery store. Says Inferno, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the Woolworths won 1924 in Australia, they said, for the Woolworths group, which is the same one as they currently do have now. I didn't realize Woolworths was established in New Zealand in 1929, though. It was in Wellington in 1929. Was launched by Woolworths Australia. I didn't realize Woolworths was a thing here in New Zealand until about... I'm such a small town boy. I was about to say I didn't even know we had Woolworths here, and I'd never seen one here in New Zealand until I was like 12, maybe even older than that, probably like 15. It was the first time I saw a countdown or a Woolworths here. A halftime in this contest, and it is going to be 14 points to 3 now between these two sides. There we go. We'll go like that. The second half of this contest, they normally have that 15-minute break between the two halves. 1 second, we'll get the stopwatch going here. We'll go like that as well. But in terms of the next round, ladies and gentlemen, of this Carling Currie Cup competition, of course, the first round we have had all close games. This one's actually the most one-sided just for now if it was to end like this. But the way that the first round sat, the biggest margin was 6 points between the Stormers and the Griquas. In terms of round 2, Cheetahs versus the Sharks, Lions versus Pumas, Griquas versus the Bulls, and then Boland playing the Stormers. We have there the smoke you saw in the background. Looks like chips and dip food truck. Says Inferno there. Chips and dip. I recognize the colors of a different cooking hot chips / French fries. So what's the dip part of it? Is it like as in like potato chips and dip? Or is it like chips and then like a dipped hot dog or something like that maybe? Second half of this one, we have already seen the change of Dominic Smith making his way onto the field, and that was due to the injury that did happen early on in this game of James Teddy. He ended up with the sore knee and taking the big collision. In terms of the Bulls bench, we haven't seen anyone feature in this game as of yet, although I would not be one bit surprised if we see Andre Schumann taken off relatively early due to the inconsistencies in terms of those lineups, chips and different sauces, says Inferno. And then we've also seen that yellow card. They did have 14 on the field for a while. Nicholas Jansi Funds Rensburg was taken off for 10. But yeah. I think this one's going to get a little bit closer, but I do think that the Bulls should have gone a bit more aggressive. Oh, yeah, there's no link to watch the game on, please. So it is available on Super Sport in South Africa. Alongside that, there is, for us here in New Zealand, it's actually on Sky Sport, which is quite nice because there was a time where they got rid of the Currie Cup over here, and it was a massive shame. We were actually covering it consistently. I think we covered the Currie Cup back in about 2021 or somewhere around there. And it's a cone filled with hot chips, and you put sauce on top, says Inferno. Okay, so it's like a wait. So where's the dip part of it? I guess if you're dipping a chip that you've already you've taken out from underneath and put it in. 1 second, I'm going to go like this. Currie Cup. Where was our first Currie Cup stream? Done a few on the channel's history. We've done 45 Currie Cup games. And by the looks of it, first one was back in 2021. It's a wee while ago. And by the looks of it, it was Bulls versus Western Province. And just to show you how long ago that was, it was Dwayne Vermeulen and Stephen Kitsoff as the two men in the thumbnail. So we covered the 2021 competition quite a bit. And then by the looks of it, 2022, we also did quite a bit. And then I think they got rid of it for us here in New Zealand in 2023. So we didn't get to cover it as much. I'm actually curious to know what the lineups looked back in 2021. Who we got? So for the Western Province, back in the day, what's quite crazy is this is 2021, 5 years ago. The first person in the chat, some of you guys will know relatively well, and that's BTW Padza. So he was back there in 2021, all the years ago. So the Blue Bulls had Martin Zima, they had Klopper, also Johan Labaskachny, Mulder, Berger, Richard Krill from the number 15 jersey too. In terms of the Stormers side, the Western Province side, Paul De Vet, Dan Duplessis, Sergio Peterson, Evan Roos back in 2021. Also, Alistair Vermaak, Nedeling Fauchier, Paul De Vet. Wait a minute. So Stephen Kitsoff and Dwayne Vermeulen weren't even playing, but they were the two that I had as the thumbnail. I guess that was probably back in the day where I was like, I just need someone who looks like they're playing for the team. Has Amish aged? Yeah, I've aged a little bit. I had long hair back there. That wasn't a good choice. Did I at least... I unmuted for a second, and I don't even know what name I've just tried to say there, but it wasn't one of the good ones. We had Birdie back in the day too. Some of you guys will still know Birdie. Birdie pops in every once in a while to say hi. And David the Mod, back when he was called David 23, he gave us a donation. It's like a trip down memory lane, isn't it? Currie Cup. But yeah, 2021, over 5 years ago, since the first game of the Carling Currie Cup that we have covered on the channel. So we've been around for a little while on the old YouTube scene. They are just showing the games that we have seen thus far in terms of this competition. A close game between the Pumas and the Sharks, but the Sharks able to get themselves that victory, 26 points to 24. We saw there the Stormers getting the win over the Riquas, 25 points to 19. And then from there, the Cheetahs, 29-27. And also 14 points to 3, which was clickbaiting back then. I don't know if it was so much as clickbait. I think it was just more so that I wanted to find a player. Although you could argue I was doing less clickbait because literally in my title, I had in brackets not showing game. That was back in the day where I had to put that because everyone was confused about what it was. Yeah, Dwayne Vermeulen and Kitsoff as the two men there. And the old Carling Currie Cup logo too was out there on the thumbnail. But we have still got another probably, I'd say, 7 minutes or so before the second half does get underway. If they are having a 15-minute half, I think they were the original captains. Says Inferno. Yeah, I think at the start of the season, they would have been the captains named. And I assume 2021, we had some sort of Springboks matches. And gosh, excuse the grammar. Says Inferno there too. Crowd, even though it doesn't look like the nicest day weather-wise, they are still enjoying what they are seeing, this Boland crowd. Wanted to see their side once again get themselves a win over the Bulls. They actually did do it last year. 28 points to 20 was the way that one sat. 40 more minutes between these two sides. Probably a few late changes, I would think, more likely than the early switches for these teams. Last year's Carling Currie Cup. The playoff games, the final, the Riquas were able to win it. I forgot why he was forced to retire. Are we talking Dwayne Vermeulen? I think it was it knee that retired Vermeulen, or was it head knocks? 1 second. Why did Dwayne Vermeulen retire? Retired after a highly decorated career, could not sustain the physical demands. It doesn't sound like they actually did it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's had his fair share of injuries, but I don't think it was anything to do with a certain injury that he then retired from. I just checked back in. Not a good day to be a Bull, hey? Says Yanko. Yeah, not ideal at the moment for this Bulls side, although they did. It was a weird choice, Yanko, and I don't think you'll agree with it. Well, actually, no, I don't think you will. End of the game, right? They win multiple penalties just out from the Boland line. Referee says to Boland, you're on your last warning. 40 minutes has passed on the board. Bulls have won about 3 penalties in a row. They then decide to take a 3-pointer to close out the half 14 points to 3, even though they were 5 meters out from the Boland line and Boland were on their last warning. Wrong choice, wasn't it? Oh, no, Stephen. Yeah, Stephen was the neck injury, wasn't it? Kits off as the way he had to retire. Is Boland a new team? Not really. They've been in the Carling Currie Cup last season as well, but I believe for Boland, it's normally in the SA Cup that they get to take part in rather than the Currie Cup. So they've been slightly promoted in that regard. But yeah, they went well last year. I enjoyed watching them in action. This year, they are looking like they're going to go off to a decent start. They kind of got screwed out of last year's comp. Anyone who watched that game against the Lions, and the Lions had all their URC guys back because they wanted to trial them before the URC started, it kind of just took away any chance of being able to win for Boland. But like Argentina taking the scrum yesterday, yeah, that was weird. That one I couldn't understand. They used up like 3 minutes, and then eventually, yes, people were annoyed about the controversy for the final moment. But technically, if everything had gone to plan and they had actually just tapped it from the get-go, that would have been a no try, right? And then they would have still had 2 or 3 minutes remaining on the clock rather than it being full time. I definitely wrong choice. I fully agree with you there. Says Yanko. I don't know why the Western Province changed their name to the Stormers. Why? I know that they've had a few changes recently, but the irony is, if they change the logo too, I see that on my one, it's still got the old Western Province Rugby logo, but yeah, the logo changed last year, didn't it, for the main Stormers side? It was to save money because they hand out free Stormers flags for every home game. So it is to save money. All right. So they just, I guess, on the budget, it would have been, I would have thought name change would cost them a little bit. I remember when Countdown and Woolworths, they were having their switch over here in New Zealand and cost them about $200 million or something to be able to change the names on all of the shops and all of the branding and everything. I'm just guessing, says Inferno. I'd assume there's some sort of extra reason behind it. Maybe because of the fact that the Sharks are the Sharks 15. The Bulls are the Bulls 15. The Lions are not the Lions 15, though. I don't really know, says Inferno. The second half of this one is just about to start up. Both sides making their way back out onto the field. We've had about 11 and a half minutes of this halftime break, so I think they're actually quite early. They're getting ready to go now. Yeah, it was quite nice having it Western Province and Stormers because then you could differentiate. When you've got the Bulls 15 here, many people think that it is the side from the URC. So, they'd see this result and be like, oh, like the Bulls have gone from doing well in the URC to losing to a random side that aren't in the URC. But it's not quite the same thing. Quick question. South Africans seem to not play a high standard along with many changes to the team, and yet they still dominated. My question is, are they the leading contender going into the World Cup? Yes. But a lot of South Africans don't want that to be the case. They kind of want to be an underdog because they absolutely love being able to prove people wrong. So, yeah, it's a tricky one because they will come in as favourites, but I think there will be a few who want to say that they're not the favourites, even though, they're back-to-back world champs. They're going to be favourites heading into that next one. Also, All Whites beat Ivory Coast 1-0. France lost 1-0 to Ivory Coast. Says from there. Their supporter turnout was bad, so changing the name to catfish people into attending, says Inferno. But I do see a Boland kit change here. Ladies and gentlemen, they wore one kit in the first half. They are wearing a new kit in the second. Tell you what, if they're trying to sell kits, they're doing a very good job because this one I think I like more than the last. There would have been a reason behind it, but I was talking through it, so I didn't actually hear what they said. But anyone who knows why Boland changed their kit at halftime, do of course let me know. My mum took our cleaner to go watch with her, and they thought it was the Stormers originally. And it was just yellow, says Inferno. It certainly is. It's a nice design. Boland looking for the steal and the breakdown. Currently still playing 15 on 15 here, and a drop ball from Keegan Johannes. And one of these unnecessary names for rugby club teams or rugby league clubs. Says from there and go Boland go, says Stefan. Bright yellow with the blue across the chest. For the Boland Kavaliers here, and they have got the early scrum. Now, throughout that first half, Gomedi as well as Munjezi were having a good old back and forth between those two men. 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. We'll get the scoreboard back to where it needs to be. Weirdly got a bar around it today. It doesn't normally, but I decided to do it for this game. Just looking through. Same forward pack by the looks of it. No changes as of yet for Boland. Trying to catch the number 2 for the Bulls, Yandre Skuman. You are in a quite a fresh mood. It's probably because, well, I haven't slept much at all, so it can't be that. But I think it's because it's just the one game today. And Boland, I like this side quite a bit. I'll be honest, watching them last year, they grew on me. And I think the fact that their kit's yellow as well doesn't help. Because I like a yellow kit. That one's booted in behind, nicely taken at the back end. Not a lot of space to work with for, was Riyad Bum. When was the last time you tried Lollipop? I don't know when I had a lollipop last, probably like 3 years ago, somewhere around there. One of those ones, you know, the marshmallow lollipops. I haven't had one of those in like 15 years. Are you wasting your energy? You should save these games for the World Cup. Says from there in Boland, bro. Says Jean-Jacques Jacobs. And also the final says from there. Now line out throw here for Boland, sitting 22 meters out from the line. Joshua Eras did score the first try of the match for the Boland Kavaliers. Saying there that Boland should have had a penalty for something else in the build-up there, but it's going to be the line out. They throw it into the front. Nicely taken by Leonard. Now back across to the left-hand side. Salah the dummy in the midfield from Yorick Lewis. Back to the right again. Ball's still there. The referee saying that they were trying to hold a player in there. Gumedi hits it up. I guess because they are wet and slippery. Commentators didn't say why they changed their kit. And also, what do you believe could possibly be left on New Zealand's side? That could be a wrong decision. Oh, sorry. Who do you believe could possibly be left on New Zealand's side that could be wrong? I don't think there'll be too many players who get left out. I don't see there being more than about 10 or 15 guys who are on the fringe of making the All Black squad. It would be more down to injuries. Now, nice bounce pass on the outside for Boland. Awkward slide there. And he gets thrown into touch for Jaden Bantam. Now, line out for the Bulls, 5 meters out from their line. South African, I think we lose in the South African tour. I think that the concern after that Welsh game for a lot of South African supporters, like, I don't think there's any need to panic yet. I think at best New Zealand go 2-2. I don't see South Africa losing that tour. Do you ever had a White Whitaker's chocolate, says Frim? No, but I have seen that they've got now, it's the Goody Gumdrop Whitaker's bar. A limited edition one back into the pocket. That one's going to be kicked high from Keegan Johannes. Doesn't get a huge amount of distance on it. With Richie Mo'unga going back to the All Blacks, I think we will lose next Rugby World Cup. Is 1-2, miss a few. Also, you're saying Richie Mo'unga is going to change the game for the Kiwis. Because I know that he's not going to be on that greatest rivalry tour unless there's some sort of injury in the first 5 department. But he also has to play a little bit of NPC first. So are you going Mo'unga Roygaard as that combo too? 1-2, miss a few? Or are you thinking there's another 9 who's going to go in? I kind of like the idea of Kyle Preston, Richie Mo'unga. Bluebird potato chips were really good, but now they're not. Is that what you're saying, From? Looks like Nabakaba just getting a bit of attention. He's saying hurry up and set the line out. Get them back underway. The referee not messing around. He just wants this game to keep on going and going and going. It seems like they're actually going to just continue on with Nabakaba still out there, bro. Preston sounds good. Says 1-2, miss a few. I mean, they are still good, says From there as well. Yeah, I'm curious to know whether or not for the greatest rivalry tour, whether New Zealand picked 4 halfbacks. And if so, I'm curious to know if it's Noah Hotham who comes in as the 4th, or whether they go with an Adam Lennox, maybe would be the other shout that they may be looking towards. 45 minutes through this game. Boland have 2 tries to get themselves the bonus point. They would still need 2 more, but now looking short side. Flicking it back to Schroeder. Up now to Marlon Williams. 7 meters out. Schroeder under pressure, but again offside. That time it was, I think it was Munjezi. Went a little bit too quickly. Still the advantage in play. Rolling away to the left-hand side. And it looks like they're also going to run it that way here if Schroeder can find the ball. They've got the advantage on it. Now it comes out the back. They will go right instead. Marlon Williams. Goodbye, Mdunda. Cross there into the midfield. Or Derek Lewis. Oh, sorry, not Derek. Yurik Lewis. Do you remember yesterday when we had technology conversation? I do. I think I missed a few of the messages in the end as that chat was going very quickly. Now away to the left-hand side yet again. Smith. Pretty handy at the moment in terms of that defensive line of the Bulls, but they have already given away the penalty advantage, and now they will go back for it. I'd say one more against them would probably result in another yellow card. As I mentioned earlier on, the last time these 2 sides played, they had a total of 6 yellow cards across the matchup. I think Nabakaba may have been the man penalised here again. He's had a few penalties against them, the Bulls captain. Oh. Wrong choice again, I think. Boland have decided to go for the 3. What do you actually gain, though, from getting the 3 here? I guess you go up by 14. So the draw is the one that looks more likely than a win to the opposition. But again, last warning pretty much from the referee. Your lineout's been going good. You kick that ball into the corner and you punish the opposition. You take them out of this game so that you can cruise for the final 30 minutes. But instead now Boland, this will extend them back to 14 and put them back into their own half. Ready for the kick here. He has to make sure this goes over for Bantam, and he does. So that at least is the 3 points. Is there a criticism of Dave Rennie? What would it be? Says Robert Wallace. I think it's still too early to give too many critiques. He's still trying out things. Like at the end of the day, people are always going to disagree about certain players in certain positions and certain players in starting sides, off the bench, everything like that. But I think tactically it seems like they're going in the right direction. The All Blacks, they're still going to be pretty green heading into that South African tour, but I don't know. I think that it's not all doom and gloom at the moment. Was Yellow Pages company in New Zealand? I assume so. The Yellow Pages was like the phone book type of thing. But yeah, maybe that was the actual company name as well. This one's going to be a kick downfield from Boland. Again, I just don't like the decision of going for the 3. Maybe they can fire back with a try straight afterwards. Although now the Bulls have managed to get themselves the ball back. And the penalty awarded to the Bulls here. Thought about the quick tap for a little second. To use Casper Sky or Malware Bytes. Neither of the 2, I don't think. I wonder if they were a sponsor back in the days. Says Inferno. But now the Bulls. This one will be right next to the sideline for Devon Williams' kick of the ball. Just saying there about Jaden Buntum. He's taken over the kicking responsibilities after the injury of Tedder, but he took it nicely there, the high ball too. Showing many different skills in his game, but a great steal from Nabakaba to be able to get it straight back for this Bulls side, who now have a bit of momentum. 32 metres out from the opposition line. Andre Skurman. Currently the line out, that's quite surprising. Line out, they've built it in as 4 from 6. But they obviously haven't counted the not straight ones. Because they've had a couple of those throughout this contest. Now going away to the left-hand side. Run 4 from Nicholas Jansi Funds Rensburg. One of the players did receive a yellow card earlier on in the match. In fact, the only player to receive a yellow card purely because of the fact that they didn't decide to go aggressive. At the end of that first half, the Bulls now looking for the steal over the ball. Was told to get out of it for Van der Vesterhuizen. Keegan Johannes. That was a bit of a shot and a half on him by Thurlow Marsh. Phase play from the Bulls. They haven't had too many times where they've put together more than 5 in this match. Devon Williams, the wide cutout pass, way too wide, way too high. And it goes out. Boland now have the line out. A smile on the face there for Devon Williams, but he will know that that was a big mistake to make. And they were finally starting to get those phases going. A bit of a scrappy performance so far on this Bulls team. Boland making a couple changes too by the looks of it. And there's going to be Soli Aronsa making his way off. Oh, 16, 17, 18. So replacement front row now out there for the Bulls as well. That will bring on Baker. It'll bring on Skurman. And then also Klutzia. You like Lone Star Cafe and Bar? I've only been once in my time. It was all right. It wasn't anything crazy good, I don't think. Although we did go on quite a busy night, so that was probably why. Now Schroeder. Back across to the right-hand side again. Great low tackle made by the Bulls number 8, JJ Teron. With slight concerns about an injury for him earlier on in the contest, but it does seem like now it's fully recovered. Schroeder will go for the kick downfield. Xavier Mitchell chasing after this one, but almost ended up with a clubbing blow to the head of the Bulls player. And a bit of a counter ruck here again, and it's come out on the side of Boland. Referee says it's good. A knock on. No, he's rolled it as backwards. Now it's a knock on from Boland. The ball back for the Bulls. Referee just confirming with the players that ball went back. A little bit of a slip there from the Bulls. No advantage, and they'll go back now, and a little bit of afters there as well for JJ Teron. So to be a little bit aggressive there after the whistle was blown. I think that just comes down to frustration too. The fact that this game has not gone as planned for this Boland team. Sorry, for this Bulls team. Kuneni. Looks like he's going to be all right. There's also a bit of concern with the neck of... Who is that? I think it might be Yurik Lewis? Maybe? Oh, no, it's actually Thurlow Marsh. Oh, it's probably a yellow card for Teron with the fact that the legs went above the horizontal pack and save, I guess. That's a pick and pay. Yeah, very similar, I believe. Right, they are going to actually be going upstairs and checking this one. Whether or not it does warrant a yellow card. The tackle of Thurlow Marsh. Did you hear about the Argentinian coach complaining about England's respect in this press conference? Apparently he walked off the ref after the game. As he walked off, he was getting things thrown at him. Yeah, he was, Angus Gardner. Even though he was actually the one who was jockeying for the try to be scored in the final moments. It was more his TMO who wanted it to go the other way. Player was lifted through the horizontal, but landed on his side. So it's just going to be a penalty here. Probably quite lucky. Okay, Nabakaba almost gave the referee something else to think about there because they talked about the above the horizontal. And Nabakaba there was saying, so was that for just above the horizontal or was it for playing him after the whistle? And the referee said for above the horizontal. And Nabakaba pretty much went, yep, no, that's all good then. Because you don't really want to accidentally remind the referee that it was also a late shot from your teammate. Argentina fans just make me sick. How can you disrespect the ref so bad? Should have some sort of punishment, says Kahu. It's not the first time we've seen it, though, and it's not just the Argentinians. But yeah, you can't really have a place like that or have it happen in a game of international rugby. That whole game was set up for failure, though, in terms of the tension that had been going on between those two teams. And I know that it's because of the Football World Cup too, because you have that game take place, I would say, any other weekend earlier on, and it would have been probably fine, like maybe a couple tension-filled moments, but the players were all just in a really, to be honest, just a really stupid mood throughout that 80 minutes. And the fact that there were so many cards also represented that. There's a knock on here from Boland this time, unable to take it cleanly from Thurlow Marsh. Handling a 6 from Boland, 4 from the Bulls. England won that game. Unfortunately, it wasn't pretty in the end, says Ruth. And those socks and boots are covered in mud. Yeah, I think it's going to get worse as well as this match wears on, because the rain doesn't seem like it has completely lit up here. And yellow game game yesterday, says Ruth. Yeah, I think we have 5 or 6 yellow cards between England and Argentina. And then on the other side of things, we had the what was I going to say? Just the amount of stoppages and stop-start of that game too. It was a pretty ugly one as a whole. Oh, we're seeing it there. It was just a little bit of an elbow actually on the ground. And I can see Angus was disappointed in the fans at the end. He deserves better things. I like that makes ref retire. Well, the thing is as well, like I said, if they actually, I assume they didn't get to hear as well as we did, or they didn't understand, but Angus Gardner was about as close to giving a try as you could be as a referee. It was the TMO that was changing the mind. Now, like, that's where, again, referees shouldn't have to take that level of stick no matter what, whether they have a good game or not. Like, the review afterwards is where they should be working that all out. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've covered too many rugby games, but at this point, like, when referees make any sort of mistake, I just brush it off. Maybe I'm too forgiving. But actually, no, I definitely know I am. There's many people in the chat that I've led away with far too much. Are we over there? I don't know. My house is warm right now, says Inferno. You're looking marvellous after 24 hours marathon yesterday, says Ruth. You haven't felt the biting cold in your bones, says Ruth there too. Looks like another change is about to be made. In fact, no, not quite. What did you make of Italy's red card against Australia? That was bonkers. Yeah, although it was a red card, but it was more of just a sending off of Riccioni. But I'm curious to see what they actually rule that as now. The Bulls never going to win a trophy again, cannot win URC titles, so much worse than the Currie Cup with bad coaching and players. No more pride in the Bulls' legacy, says Ian. And a very fine drizzle here in Wellington at the moment, almost nothing, says Bruce. Yeah, the surface is certainly still slippery, seen by the amount of handling errors that we've witnessed throughout this game, but the 9 told to use it. Now back into the pocket for Johannes. The pass of Brooklyn Newman sliding close to the sideline. Nicely done by Smith to be able to actually stop himself in his tracks and stop from going over the sideline. And a penalty there, won by the Bulls. And we have there, is there actually a Bulls team, same coach or different coaches? Different coaches than the main squad. Johan Hussen actually in the coaching box, alongside a couple others. 13 penalties against the Bulls in this contest, and they are this time looking towards the corner. One has gone into touch. Let me see it there. Banton just got a little bit isolated. And Nabakaba right on him, and then Jansi Fans Rensburg got the hand in there. Boland went off their feet to try and stop that turnover from happening. Now line out here. Throwing it in over the back. And it is nicely taken again. Bulls have got the possession just about 5 meters out from the line. It's rolling nicely too. This is a great chance for the Bulls to score their first try of the day. Sean Skirman has gone over, and the Bulls are now back in this contest. Now, I'm going to try my absolute best not to bring up the fact that Boland went for a 3 earlier on in the game when they could have had the game won by now. But the game's changed, and now the Bulls are right back in this game. Currie Cup kind of like the NPC from New Zealand, a little bit, yes, except much shorter in terms of the season as there are less teams. Yeah, just spanking his forward pack. In that case, it was Brooklyn Newman. Just trying to get everyone to keep on marching forward. Same Currie Cup Bulls coach that struggled last year also. Says Anya, they finished 6th last year, right? Now lining up this kick for Keegan Johannes. An important one to be able to get over, and he strikes it straight down the middle. After 58 minutes now in this contest, the score is 10 points to the 17. This one's going to be close. The most separated we have seen a Currie Cup game in the first round was 6 points. This one's looking like it's going to fall right into that same category. Possession and territory, both in favour of Boland. The Bulls have given away 13 penalties in this contest. And also, do you watch soccer? If so, who do you think will win the FIFA World Cup? I actually haven't watched hardly any of the Football World Cup, if I'm honest. I watched New Zealand's game against, I think it was Iran. Outside of that, I haven't really watched too much else of it. I know that Argentina, some people don't really like them at the moment. But then there's also the ones who don't like Spain. So, yeah, it'll be intriguing. I probably won't watch it live. Because to watch it live, I'll have to stay up for another 4 hours or so. Which, to be fair, isn't impossible, but definitely be smarter to sleep. Why does it seem like Ireland and Italy look way off with their form? Or is it what we see is what we get? I think Italy and Ireland are off form at the moment. Long campaign for them as a whole, but November, they should look a little bit better up north. Another penalty awarded this time to Schroeder. It looks like this time Boland have decided that the corner is the better way of going rather than looking towards the 3 points. 20 minutes still remaining. Lineouts, they are 12 from 13 today for Boland. So I understand why they would be keen to keep on going with those mauls when they're available. Just updating the clock as well. Oh, stolen though by the Bulls. That was a classic commentator's curse moment, wasn't it? But it's going to be back now for Brooklyn Newman. Ready to fire this one back into the pocket. Oh, nicely taken. And, looks like a bit of an injury there for Keegan Johannes as he looks to hook it into touch. It will still be about 20 metres out from the line for this Boland team. He's limping it off. Only just trying to get that feeling back in the leg. Did you watch England dancing after the Argentina game, Pollock? I was about to kiss Kenj. It looked kind of sus. I did see that clip. It definitely fired up the Pollock haters. There are all the controversies going around about how Genj actually hates Henry Pollock and whatnot. And apparently he's hinted at it on shows and whatnot. But someone summarized it quite well. Pollock seems to be the type of player who you'd love or like you'd enjoy to have on your side, but you'd hate to play him. You know, and he seems to bring a lot into that English camp. Seems to be a happy chap. Everyone's going to be knocked on from Boland at the back of their lineout. There's now 2 mistakes at lineout time in a row. I put it down to the fact that they just haven't had one for about 20 minutes in this contest. We have got there. When does Artie have to pick his next club? I think it will be coming up in the next couple months. But maybe the Blues is the rumor at the moment. Pollock is ruthless. I love it. Doesn't matter what he did. He was brilliant in previous game. Says Ruth. Currently 18 minutes remaining. Only Schroeder just trying to fire up his fullback, although the Bulls have shown more domination when it comes to that scrum. New Zealand pushing well, says Ruth. And there as well. But now, ball about to be put in. And wahoo, ball's coming back. Says Ruth there as well. Being told to use it for Brooklyn Newman. Away to the right, a big two-man tackle from Boland dislodges the ball. An attack and run forward from the lock. Oh, Schroeder passes away to Chris Smith. Chris Smith, I should say. Against his old team. Now left-hand side, Schroeder moves it on. Nice seller, the dummy, almost through the middle for the inside centre. In this case, it is Yurik Lewis. And France were disappointing in the under-20s yesterday. Maybe the Box were just too good. Says Kahu. Yeah, they just never seem to get going in that second 40, but South Africa, it seemed like they were on the verge of winning multiple times. Lionel Cronje, coaching the Sharks, says Carmen there. Oh, big driving tackle, but the ball is still on the side of Boland, or at least it was, until it was slapped back by the Bulls. Picked up, though, by Yurik Lewis. Back into the hands of the Bulls. There were about 3 turnovers, maybe even 4 or 5, in just that short little passage of play. Now back into the pocket. And kick downfield again here. And a bounce awkwardly. Nicely taken by Bantam. So it's strong throughout this game. Probably a man of the match contender. That ball bounces up. Beautiful pass on the inside. He was absolutely smashed into touch. Looking for the offload on the inside. It was knocked on by Boland. No, in fact, it's ruled as backwards. Now it's the knock on. And we'll go back for the Bulls scrum. This game has all of a sudden got very hectic throughout the closing moments with all sorts of random plays happening. Oh, and now there's a player injured. There is no surprise there that there is more than one guy who is staying down for a little bit of time here. Try and recover a bit of that energy. A crazy passage of play. Lionel Cronje coaching the Sharks. When did he retire? Lionel Cronje. Or am I? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Eric Cronje, who still plays for the Lions, right? I didn't think the Pumas should have been a penalty try for the high contact. The breakdown thought so. Says Kahu. I think that the Pumas should have already had that try. Technically, when you look at the fact that they kept on going for the tap, they kept on going for the scrum rather than just going tap and go. So, no matter what the call was going to be there, Argentina, even if it was a no try in the end, should have still had 2 or 3 minutes left to try and score again. But they blew their opportunity by just wasting precious minutes by just sitting and resetting a scrum that was always going to be slow. Boland, they have found the knock on there, so the scrum feed will be for the Bulls with the 16 minutes now remaining. Yeah, they said in the check that they could not see any head contact. Checking it again here, though. That looked fine, whatever that replay was. Good afternoon now, Uses Mohadin doing very well. We've got 16 minutes remaining of this contest. Both scrums have been 100% in terms of their own feed. I do believe there'll be a major overhaul of officiating. Probably not. I think that World Rugby have shown stubbornness in the past. And it comes down to the fact that they say that referees aren't allowed to be criticised, which I agree with to a certain extent. You shouldn't be allowed to do anything more than just question a decision. But at the same time, there has been the inconsistency, which is making it harder and harder for people to fully get into the games now. When you're on against Mohadin, next weekend we'll probably have one game on the Monday. I don't think there'll be any other matches that I know of for the other matches. I'm just trying to think of whether or not we've got. I don't think NBC starts up too soon. We have how long left? There's 1, 2. Currently 15 minutes remaining on the clock for these two sides. I will update that clock again. There we go. I'll just put it to 13 minutes remaining so that we're a little bit ahead. That's 7 points difference between these two sides. It's the like button, please. People, and subscribe to Kiwi Lads Commentary, says Ruth. Now making way onto the field now. A couple more changes for the Bulls. There's going to be Mentor. And it's for Brooklyn Newman. And for Nykirk will come off. And Vjok will make his way on. Everyone should be accountable. Says Bruce. And are you doing all the Currie Cup next week? No. Probably just the one game of the Currie Cup, I would say. Now going away to the right-hand side again. Rush defense. Thurlow Marsh. Now Schmidt. Boland have had a lot of territory in just recent times, but it hasn't led to points too often. I think the Boomers were so disappointed because they already lost to the Scots. And they thought they were going to do better, but 2 losses probably ruins their title hopes, says Kahu. And the score won't change, says Daniel. So you're going with the same score at the end of the contest. And you can get a good rest before work tomorrow, Amish, the Monday, says Ruth there. They're luckily not working, so we'll be able to get a sleep in if I need to. I also still haven't decided, though, whether or not I'm going to stay up and watch the final of the Football World Cup, just because it's one of those ones that you'll see as soon as you wake up, someone will say the score. You know, whether it's on like a random rugby post or something, there'll be something about it. But it's 4 hours away. And that's for the start of it. In fact, it's 4.5 hours away. So I won't be finished for another 6.5 hours. I think I'm going to end up sleeping. I'm ready to put this ball into the scrum. It is actually Keegan Johannes playing as the 9 here. Bit of a rotation there for the Bulls back line. So up by 7 for Boland. They are 2 tries away from a bonus point in this matchup. If they were to win this game by this margin, they would move to, I think it would be 2nd or 3rd on the overall standings. Now, Keegan Johannes going to get to show off that box kick. Who do you think is winning the Northern Championship final? Box have Ireland and France away, that stuff, says Kahu. So the Northern Championship or the Nations Championship final, I think we should worry about who's going to be number 1 on each side of the draw first. And currently for me, it is between Ireland and France. France, I think because of the close game against New Zealand, those 2 bonus points, I think they might sneak one. Sitting around the fire outside, getting ready for the braai with the noise from Boland Stadium in the background. So only a slight drizzle, says Bruce. How's Erasmus doing for the Bulls? I haven't actually seen a huge amount of him. The back line of the Bulls hasn't really had a lot of work to do out there on the field, not on attack anyway. See there, Schroeder now makes his way off, and September comes on. And Blue Bulls, says Billy Mattia there. Now scrum feed. Van Nijkerk could get a try. Says Roof there too. Chris Will, September. This ball in for Boland. And 1 ball pull the upset. Or can the Bulls pull the upset? I think that with Boland not scoring in a long time and having their last one as an attempted 3, which they did get. Well, that's a good kick from Chris Smith, just trying to force them back again. Bulls are not out of this game as of yet. We could actually have a draw on the cards here, depending on what happens throughout this next 11 minutes or so. We have you there. Good day from the pub. Let's see, we'll go like this, and we'll go like that as well. We'll keep the scoreboard ticking over as we get closer to the 80-minute mark. Well, now, here, Sean Skurman did score the last try of the contest for the Bulls, and that was actually their first try that they have been able to get. Is there going to be adjustments to the HIA system? Maybe, but it's normally pretty slow in terms of any like changes that they make. It's like law changes, how it normally takes about half the year before they actually get to the stage of trialing it. And Carter Days take the 3, then come back for the try and win. Says 1, 2, miss a few. Does everyone play everyone at the Nations Championship, like 6 plays 6? Yes. Yep. So you have 1 versus 1 for the championship, and then everyone else 2 versus 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. And I'm at home, hot chocolate and chips with a duvet and the cats, says Ruth. And also, was the try for the Bulls Skurman or Skurman? So it was Skurman off the bench, number 16. Managed to get it for the rolling maul. Who's winning in your opinion? I can't watch the game, says Daniel. I think that Boland still have a good shot, but them taking the 3 made me think they were looking a little bit too defensive. And because of it, I mean, they haven't scored since, but they're in a good position here. 22 metres out from the line with a great chance of being able to get something motoring towards the Bulls try line now. 10 minutes left on the clock, too. Plenty of time. And the Bulls have had ill discipline throughout this match, giving away about 14 penalties. Big run forward from Yurik Lewis. So the middle of the field with Thurlow Marsh. Williams on his side. Now pick and go again. Up to the left-hand side and another one. As they move to only 10 metres out from the opposition try line. Boland, this is their time to strike. They pop it up to Marlon Williams. Now to the right again. Did the Bulls score? They scored one try with, it was Sean Scudderman, but they haven't scored for a little while. And a penalty, though, awarded to the Bulls. I think Nabakaba has a dislocated finger here. He looks like he's in a lot of discomfort, the skipper. And missing another hat-trick, says Ruth. And it's going to be a neck roll. And that is the last thing that you want at this stage of the match. We see it there. It's the neck roll from Diane van der Westerhuizen. And Scoreman, excellent choice. Here's Ruth. The Bulls get that one into touch. 42 metres out from their own try line. This one, 9 minutes. These two sides both can still win from here. There is also a high possibility that we can see a draw. Why don't you show the game? Because it would be illegal. Due to copyright infringement. Supersport have it though. Sky Sport also do have this match. But yeah, if I showed any match footage or audio, you get taken straight off YouTube, banned for 3 months, and potentially go to prison for copyright law infringement, which is a bit rough. And again, I don't really want to go to prison if I can avoid it. We have there, Wadamas tackle. Says Inferno. And also, is there a trophy for winning hemisphere in the Northern Championship or Nations Championship or just bragging rights? I know you win a trophy for winning the whole thing. Or you're talking about like being number one on either side of the draw, right? You don't get like a trophy. You get it if you win the whole thing. The 1-versus-1 match. Penalty goes the way of Boland this time. Referee just trying to calm everyone down as the tensions are starting to get a little bit hotter as this match goes on. Again, some great stepping there from the youngster Bantam. I think he's going to get man of the match too if Boland go on to win this contest. I'm talking about the hemisphere with the most wins. Says Go. No, you just, like, it's just, I guess, like, people will say it's bragging rights, but at the end of the day, whoever wins the 1-versus-1 match, they've got the bragging rights heading into that World Cup. Poor Pumas, never mind, they'll bounce back. Very depressing that England could have been on the wrong end of the decision. And then what, says Ruth? I've applied to become the state prosecutor. Don't worry. If you show the game, if you were in South Africa, I would drop the charges. Says Inferno. We've got another reset here at line-out time. Referee just saying that one needs to happen again. It will be Llewellyn Klassen. You need to throw this one as straight as possible. About 25 metres out from the line at the moment for Boland. It's gone in, taken again. At least this game is closer than Box versus Wales. Says Big Rig. Otherwise, the final in England for the Nations Championship, just the location that was decided. They'll probably move it around next time too. It will probably be a Southern Hemisphere final next time it takes place. Now, rolling forward. Chance here for Boland as they move to about 6 metres from the try line. It is still marching. Big push in behind. Advantage in play. It's a penalty try for Boland. A massive moment in this contest as that will also bring one of the Bulls players off of the field. And now Boland, they are 1 try away from a bonus point, but they secure at this. Oh, no, it's Nabakaba who's been sent to the bin. They were just talking about his leadership and his captaincy throughout this game. And right when they mentioned that, he is the man who gets himself sent off. Ball game, says Big Rig there. And yeah, just like last year, it seems like Boland are going to be able to get the job done against this Bulls side. Last year, they beat them 28 points to 20. This year, they sit with a 14-point lead with 6 minutes to go. Ready to kick it off is Vian Mentor. For Boland, they need to chase this bonus point. And again, points differential-wise, they will be sitting number 1 on the standings if they are able to win this game with that bonus. Ashlon Davids makes his way off the bench. He's been the most disappointing in the Nations Championship. Says Kahu. I'll probably say Italy to a certain extent. At the end of the day, they're 0 from 3. Fiji is 0 from 3 as well, but their game up against the Scottish as well as their game up against the Welsh, I think puts them up there enough. See there, another change here too. Marlon Williams will make his way off. And Few, says Ruth. And Schmidt also will make his way off. And that was the change for Ashlon Davids there. Ready to boot it. They've got 6 minutes here, the Bulls, to get themselves a converted try as well, as that would then turn it into a 7-point contest yet again, and they would receive the losing bonus point from this game. Well, 0 against the box, so disappointed with them. Says Ruthie, although they did beat Fiji and had a decent back and forth with the Argentines. Are you going to the watch Super Rugby or the Women's Alpaki final next week or not? Or I'm not, says Kahu. I'll probably give it a watch. I may even be able to go to it, to be fair. I think it's in Christchurch, isn't it? Do you think Rasi is watching this game, says Inferno? Potentially. I think he'll be keeping an eye on certain Currie Cup games, although he's probably also got some big decisions to make in terms of who he's going with in his squad. I don't know when he's going to be announcing the squad itself, though, for that greatest rivalry tour. 1 second, we'll go Super Rugby Alpaki. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Christchurch. Where are we? The final, One New Zealand Stadium. So potentially. And where are these teams from? Are they all from South Africa, says Kahu? Correct, yes. So every side in this Currie Cup competition is based out of South Africa, now trying to break through the Bulls. Maybe he's got someone to watch the games for him and scout players, says Inferno. Potentially, but I do also think Rasi would be a very hands-on type of guy. And he's mentioned about how he's quite stubborn too at times. So I don't think he wants someone else watching the games for him. I think he would want to watch them. Who's in the Alpaki final? It is going to be Matatu versus the Blues. That'll be a good game. Both wearing blue, probably. Although they'll have to mix that up a little bit, I would think. Now, ball is still on the side. Little bit of a counter ruck again there. Moving away to the left. Nice quick hands. That one's kicked out on the full from Boland. Now the Bulls will be able to get themselves... Oh, no, sorry. Boland have got themselves the line out. Must have been deflected. 1 second. I'm going to go like this. And like that. I'm just curious, while we have got a couple minutes remaining, what type of price are they charging for the final? Just showing it away to the left-hand side, that movement that was happening for Boland. I think we lose once Tony Brown leaves back to New Zealand. Says 1-2, miss a few. Hurricanes men done well. Woman, you disappoint me, says Carmen. And how do you give the All Blacks chances going to South Africa? I think, again, I don't think they're getting clean swept, but I don't think they're winning the series. I think 3-1, 2-2 are the ones that I'm looking at the moment. They have no upcoming events for the Matatu. But they have a game this weekend in Christchurch. I wonder whether or not maybe it's because it's so fresh that they've just worked it out. So maybe by the midweek, they'll start bringing them out. One's going to be kicked in Dutch by the Bulls again. 77 minutes through this matchup, just about at the end of it. I'm a guru, 3-1 New Zealand. I didn't even know Kiwis knew where Boland was, says Hardis. Yeah, see, I've been a big fan of Boland ever since they joined into the Carling Currie Cup last year. They actually almost, I would say, became my South African side, believe it or not. Now line out here. Felt like they got hard done by in that game against the Lions, though, in the semi-finals. They sadly didn't have URC players that they could bring in and stack their team with. And then the Lions went on to lose the final anyway. That was going to be knocked on. Mistake made again, this time from Bam. Who do you think is winning the NPC? I think Wellington, says Kahu. Yeah, although Wellington have got a fair few players missing because of the international duty. So I think certain regions are going to struggle a bit. Of course, with like Karifi more than likely going into the All Blacks tour squad, you lose him. They won't have Ruben Love. They won't have Xavier Numia or Safwa Moore. Who else do they normally have in that Wellington side? I feel like there's one or two extras. Has anyone in the chat betrayed you before? Quite a few, probably. realistically, but it's all right. 1 minute remaining though. Boland, you need one more try. Doesn't Otago have the shield? Someone does. Oh, penalty. Goes the way of the Bulls against the scrum feed. And a little bit of push and shove happening here again. Yeah, Otago, they're playing mid-Canterbury. That is in 4 days' time, 11 hours. That is in Alexandra. That match is happening. Okay, referee asking for all the players to stop pushing each other. Bantam at the moment is getting slightly fired up by, I want to say that was Riyad Bam. I think there's been a lot of frustration out there on the park, though. ABS South African Super Rugby team was the Vodacom Bulls. 1-2 miss a few. However, there you don't look too upset. Says cool story. We have got their Wellington Lions game, says Carmen. And also sounds like England versus the Pumas game, says Kahu. Yeah, well, the last time these two sides played, there were 6 yellow cards. We've only had 1 here so far. Oh, no, in fact, that's a lie. There's been a couple more. I think 2 or 3. No, in fact, it's just 2. Hasn't been awful. Yeah, a lot of push and shove. Right, the referee wants to TMO this with 30 seconds remaining to work out who he's going to be penalising here. 21 starts the whole scuffle. That is no surprise that it's a halfback who would end up starting something like that. 9 years in a row, they won the Super Rugby Tournament Cup, New Zealand and Australia competition. Says 1-2 miss a few. Right, what do we got now? Right. September started the whole thing. Number 10 hit him was the comment there, but then September did bring him to the ground and rip his shirt off. And Boland are just too good against the Bulls C team, says Ian. Okay, 21 is off the field. Yellow card for September at the end of this contest, and now the Bulls have a chance of getting themselves some form of bonus point from this matchup if they are able to get themselves another try and convert. That's the big thing too. But they decided to take it quickly. An aggressive run from Sean Skirman. The counter ruck there. Now back across to the right-hand side. Stepping back in for the Bulls was Manjezi. 14 on 14 with Nabakaba still off the field for another 3 minutes. I don't think we'll see him returning. Boland getting the turnover in the breakdown clean as well. 30 seconds remain on the clock. They need to go the full length of the field to get their form of bonus point. Ashlon Davis goes back into the pocket and Bantam will just boot this one downfield. Does go into touch around the halfway line off a very solid clearing kick. Any other games? Nope, this is the last one. So the next game that we are going to be covering more than likely will be next week. I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a quieter period up until that South African Greatest Rivalry Tour. But we are also going to have plenty of videos coming out up until that stage. I just said there that for the Bulls, the victory is off the cards, but the bonus point could still be on it if they receive the 7 points here. And it's the converted try. Will be needed. Sean Skirman with the line out, stolen by Marlon Williams. Right, what do Boland do? They've decided to go for the attack. Ashlon Davis, cut out pass, knock on there. They pick it up, Boland, and that will be the end of the game. 24 points to 10. But the Boland side, 2 years in a row, have taken down the Bulls at this location. And they win it by the 14 points. I'm going to Andre Pretorius, Bulls player, geez. There's Ruth there. I am not actually too sure. I know JC Pretorius, he's been unlucky in terms of the amount of time that he has played the last couple of seasons. But Boland, they have started off with a hiss and a roar. They will, I believe that puts them into, it will be 1 second. They'll be third on the standings above the Stormers. But because they didn't receive the bonus point, they won't be able to sit number 1. So the Cheetahs after the first round are number 1, Fluff de Klerk's new side. Sharks in second, then it is Boland, then the Stormers, and then the Lions, the Pumas, the Rikwas, and the Bulls at the bottom of the bunch. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we've got a little bit of a break until the next stream. that we will have coming up on the channel. But until then, we'll still have videos coming out all throughout the week, including the announcements of squads and everything along those lines. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all for the next one.